What's up, guys? So I've got a great video for you today. This is going to be extremely helpful for those of you that are like, I've got some debt. I need a better plan on how to pay it off. What I'm doing isn't working. I see these people talk about velocity banking. They're talking about infinite banking. They're talking about all of these different things. How do I know what to do? My suggestion is watch this entire video through, jot down any questions you have, and let's chat because I'm using a real client scenario today. This is somebody that we're currently working through, helping her pay off her debts in an expedited way. And she said it would be totally fine to share her case scenario with everybody out here on the social media platforms so they could get a better understanding of how this might work for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share her information. Well, I'm going to share her debt information. I'm going to blank out her name, of course, but I'm going to share her information and kind of walk you guys through how we take two concepts, essentially velocity banking, the movement of this money, and your private banking style policy, utilizing the infinite banking concept, pairing these two things together. So we've got your whole life policy that we utilize for infinite banking, and we've got velocity banking, and we're going to marry these two things together and show you how quickly you can pay off debt using these two combinations of tools. So I'm excited. Stick around to the end. You'll get to see how quickly she pays this stuff off. It's going to blow your mind and probably inspire you to maybe reach out and book a call so we can figure out your situation too, because nobody wants to feel like they got that debt monkey on their back. I know when I got it off of mine, whew, great day, great day. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. We'll hop into this information and I'll kind of walk you guys through what this looks like. So we're going to go ahead and do it like this and boom. Okay. So when gathering clients' information, we ask that they lay out all the assets they have, their mortgage, if they want to include that in a debt payoff. She didn't in this scenario, but the vehicles that they have, the credit cards that they have, and any personal loans that they have. So this client, she has a TSP retirement account. She has $42,000 in there and she pays $175 into it every month. She's got her bank account, her savings account, where she has $10,000. She had $20,000, but we took $10,000 of her savings and we started her first policy. So now she has this properly structured policy that we can utilize for the infinite banking concept. So she's got 10K left in her savings, and then she was paying overpayments to her mortgage. She said, I'm going to stop doing that, but I want to utilize this $311 extra that I was paying so we can actually use that for helping me pay off these other debts faster. So you can see the total assets here. You can see the monthly contributions here. And then, like I mentioned, mortgages, she doesn't have anything. If this was important for you, we would lock that in there. But for vehicles, she's got her BMW, $48,000, minimum payment, $887, actual payment, $887. So she's not making any higher payment here. She's got an 8.6% interest rate, and it's a 72-month loan. Credit cards, she's got two credit cards. Maybe you guys are thinking, that's great, she's only got two credit cards. I'm going to tell you this process often works better the more debts that you have. I know it's crazy. I'm not telling you go get more debts. Obviously, don't do that. But if you're like, I got 4, 5, 6 credit cards, I got some personal loans, I got this, that, the other thing, I promise you, that allows us to create more and more momentum, more velocity for paying off these debts quicker. So she's got the balances here listed out. She's got the minimum payments that she's paying on them, and she has the actual payments that's paying on them. What can you see that's different here? We've got a minimum payment of $465, but we've got an actual payment of $600 a month. So she's paying an extra $135, if I did my math right. Yep, $135 over what's required to be paid. That's a good sign. These also have 19 and 11%, so we don't particularly like to see that. And then for loans, she's got this food service loan, $14,000, paying $475 a month, but she's actually, her minimum payment is $475, but she's actually paying $1,000 a month. That's a 12% rate in a 3-year term. All right, so let's jump over here to the strategy. So the strategy that we laid out for her essentially is, let's take all of the overpayments that you're making, because oftentimes people pay a little bit to one debt, they pay a little bit to another debt, they pay a little bit to this, that debt, all of these debts, all spread out. And all that's doing is essentially peeling off the Band-Aid very, very slowly. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is take all the overpayments that you're making on every debt that you're making it on and focus it all in on one debt, one specific debt. Our system normally tells us what that debt is, but sometimes clients decide, hey, I want to pick what debt that is. So in her case, she had a debt specifically that she wanted to try and knock out first. So we put that first in line. But in this scenario, we're not touching any more of that $10,000. She's had an overpayment on her military star, an overpayment on her Navy Federal. We've got an overpayment on the mortgage. We've got an overpayment on the food service debt. And then she said, go ahead and take a little bit of the money from my TSP that I was paying every month towards that 175. And let's just round this bad boy out at an even $1,000 a month. So now what she's done is she's moved everything down to the minimum payments that they require. All her debts are getting the minimum payments, and she took a little extra cash from her TSP, $29 to be specific, not from her TSP, but from her monthly TSP payment. We've got $1,000 is what that equals. We're now going to take that $1,000 and we're going to attack a debt very specifically, very quickly. So like I mentioned, this is the debt sequence. This tells us the payoff, the current payoff times with the debts structured like this, like they currently are. And then we come over here to strategy. So we're looking at almost 7-year payoff time if we leave things how they are. And at the end of that payoff, she would have approximately $0 that she's built up in any sort of valuable asset, maybe outside of like, her BMW or something like that. But again, cars are depreciating assets. So that's not exactly where we want to be building our wealth at. So what happens is she bought this $10,000 policy. Of course, the policy is structured so that it has accessible cash value right away. And when I say right away, I mean within the first 30 days. So out of her $10,000, she's got about $5,800 that she can get access to. So she asked for a full policy loan. Out of that loan, remember, loans are not taxable. So she's going to get this money tax-free. The insurance company is going to hold a tiny bit of that money. So she's actually going to get what I'm going to call $5,570. Let's forget about the 55 cents here. So she takes a $5,570 loan from her policy, and she pays down the first debt that she wanted to attack, which was the food service bill. All right, so let's take a look at this really quickly. So what this is all about is redirecting wind current. And what I mean by that is we want to show you how you can turn outside debt to inside debt that you control. And you can do that by specifically structuring the way that you pay off debts and attacking one debt at a time like we were talking about. So in this scenario, she took that 5863 out and she's got that extra $1,000. She's now paying that $1,000 back to her policy on a monthly basis to pay down her policy loan. It takes her a few months to do that, but at this point she makes her last payment and there's an extra $137 left after paying that $1,000 to knock out that $863 that was remaining. So that extra $137, what do you do with that? Well, she's got two options. She could, one, put that in a side account, which is what exactly we show on the screen here. This is that miscellaneous account. Let's call it her side savings account. Or she could take that and she could put it into the policy as paid up additions because she's paid the loan back. There's no extra money that she can pay in. And if she's going to play good banker, she should funnel the interest that she would have paid to herself for taking the loan back into her policy as PUA. I don't want to get too technical here. All we're saying is she decided to take the money and put it into a side account. That's not actually what she's doing, but that's what I can illustrate. The personal client is actually putting it back into her policy as additional paid up additions. So she pays that last $1,000, $863 pays off the final debt, $137 goes into the miscellaneous account, and now she's just stacking that $1,000 every single month, and that's increasing her miscellaneous account. So at the end of the 12 months, she gets to $6,137 in her miscellaneous account. She's paid back her entire loan, so she's got $5,863 that she's paid back, and that's what she has in her cash value. Now, let's go back up here for a second. So she took this $555.70 and she paid it down on the food service. That was the only money that she took and paid down the debt. She continued to make her regular monthly payments for each of these bills. So the $475, the $400, the $425, and the $877. After doing that for an entire year, this was the ending balances on each of those debts. So she was able to knock each one of these down pretty drastically. I mean, nothing crazy, especially not this $1,800 one because it's only $40 a month. but she's been able to knock them down, and we're almost finished with the food service debt. So in year one, we don't pay off any debts. So come year two, she pays her $10,000 premium again. Now remember, all of that $10,000 is not required, but she said, you know what? I can get it. I'm going to pay the $10,000 again because I understand what's going on here. So she pays that $10,000, and out of that $10,000, $8,724 becomes available. So we've got her miscellaneous account here that she had been stocking those $1,000 payments into. She's got her end of the year policy available cash value. Those just happen to equal an even $12,000. And then she has the available cash from the $10,000 that she paid into her policy. Now, check this out, you guys. We're in year two of paying that $10,000. And instead of $5,863 showing up that she can use out of her $10,000, $8,724 shows up. So substantially more money shows up, almost $3,000 more than it did the first year around. It's because the policy is becoming more and more efficient. So she adds those two numbers together, subtracts the amount of interest that the insurance company is going to hold on to, and she's got $19,996.38 that she can now go start knocking out debt with. So what does she do? Exactly that. She knocks out the food service bill in month 13. She knocks out the military star bill in month 13. It does a good bit of damage to the Navy Federal, but doesn't completely knock it out. So basically what we've done now is extremely important. We have just freed up $515 of payments that were going to the military star and the food service debt. So this is key, you guys. This is where the velocity comes in. Instead of taking that $515 and saying, yay, I have an extra $515 that I can spend every month now, what the velocity would suggest that you do is take that $515, add it to your $1,000 repayment schedule, and now pay $1,515 back to yourself to knock down your policy loan. Now remember, she only took a policy loan of $14,587. The rest of that money was cash from the miscellaneous account. That's what helped her total that $19,996 number. So basically, what we've done is we have knocked out the first two debts. She has been paying $1,515 back to her policy for 2 months, and she now has enough to take her third loan and pay off that Navy Federal credit card. So once she pays that off, $425 gets freed up. And what does she do with that $425? Of course, she wants to utilize the velocity of her system. She takes that $425, she stacks it on the $515. She now has $1940, and she goes ahead and pays off that third debt. So now we're just left with the BMW. She's paid off 3 debts in a matter of 15 months, a year and 2 months. So far, she was able to save herself $1,924 in interest, $1,044 in interest, $3,610 in interest. Not too bad. You add that up, we're well over $5,000, pushing $6,000 plus in interest. I don't know about you, but I'd be happy to have $6,000 of interest back in my own pocket. She takes that $1940, she starts paying herself back. We're paying down this inside loan, this personal loan that we have from our policy. She gets to the point where she completely pays it off. The remaining portion goes into a miscellaneous account. And then now that it's completely paid off, every month, we just start increasing the miscellaneous account by $1,940. So we get to the end of the year. She has $7,418 in her miscellaneous account, and she's completely paid back her policy loan of $14,587. So if we take those two numbers, we add them together, we get $22,005. Come the third year, she put her $10,000 in again, and from that $10,000, we get access to $9,090. We add those two numbers together, they hold about $1,181 of that total amount. So we're left with about $29,913 that we can utilize. So what do? We take that $29,000 and we pay it down to the BMW. So we take the money that we had from the policy in the loan, we pay that down along with the money that was in the miscellaneous account. That's the $29,913. We pay that whole amount down to the car. And then we didn't pay the car off. It wasn't completely paid yet. So The months start stacking. We start adding that 1940. We're paying ourselves back, paying ourselves back, paying ourselves back. Oh, guess what happens? Come month 29, we've paid ourselves back enough that we have the correct amount within the policy to go and pay off the remaining portion of the debt on the car. We are completely outside debt free at month 29. But wait, we're not done yet. We just freed up $887 from that monthly car payment. We have inside debt that we owe to our own personal selves within our policy. And what does a good banker do? The good banker pays themselves back with interest, but we're not talking about that just yet. So that 887 stacks on top of that 1940 to give us $2,827, and we start making $2,827 payments back into our policy as policy loan repayments until we completely pay ourselves back at month 33. At that point in time, that money keeps stacking in our miscellaneous account over here on the right. By the end of the third year, we have $5,812 in cash. In the side account, we have $23,677 in the policy, and we're completely debt free. No inside debt, no outside debt, debt free. And so you add these two numbers up, that'll give you $29,489. By the fourth year, she puts in her $10,000, $9,461 of that is available. Those two numbers add together, you're talking about $38,950. Everything's paid off. So all she's doing now is she's stacking this $28,27 in her miscellaneous account while her policy grows and keeps earning and growing. We get down to the end of year 4, year 5, year 6, year 7, and year 8. We conclude at year 8, and she has $216,000 of total cash. Now, let me break this summary down for you really quickly because I want to show you guys exactly what she has, because that's not all she has. So when we first started, she had $52,000 of assets, add those couple things up, but she had $82,800 in debts. She had a net worth of negative $30,800. What we were able to do after all is said and done, utilizing her infinite banking style whole life policy and the benefits of velocity banking, was turn around and create her a net worth of $302,382. Not too bad. She also saved herself $12,333 of interest that she would have been paying. I don't know about you guys, but that is absolutely incredible. It breaks it down right here. Utilizing infinite banking, she saved herself $1,233. Without utilizing infinite banking, after 8 years, she would have paid $22,558 in interest. Without utilizing infinite banking, her annual growth rate was 113%. With infinite banking, it was 134.7%. Her increase in net worth, although her net worth did increase over time, she ended up with $82,800 in the net worth at the end of that 8-year period. Well, her increase in net value with utilizing infinite banking was $333,182. I don't know about you guys, but not only did she pay her debts off in a fraction of the time, not only did she build herself a cash flowing asset that has a substantially larger death benefit than when we started, it provides her all sorts of protection from creditors, liens, everything like that. It provides her a legitimate system that is cash flowing. I want to take a look at something real quick. Let's just take a look at year 8 here. So in year 8, she puts her $10,000 in, that same $10,000 premium that she was putting in, but $11,073 is there for her to utilize. She put in 10, but $11,073 showed up. That means her $10,000 just turned into an additional $1,073 just from her putting it into her policy. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like something that's, dare I say, printing money for her. She put this money in and more money showed up. If I give you an ATM where you could put $1 in and $5 came out, how many of those ATMs would you want? How many dollar bills would you put in? I mean, would you try putting in 100? Would you try putting in the biggest bill you could possibly find? I know you would, because who wouldn't love to have a money printing machine? That's exactly what she's been able to create over a period of time. And she did it by first building the foundation to pay off her debts with, using the velocity of the banking system to expedite that process, all while building herself this banking system, this guaranteed cash flowing banking system. So at the end of 8 years, she goes from $82,800 in debt to a net worth of $302,382. This is accessible cash that she currently has, whether it's in her outside policy, like her side account, inside her policy in cash value, which is right here, or with the asset that she has from her TSP, which we didn't take into consideration. There's a chance that that could have grown. There's a chance that it could have gone down. We just decided, hey, this is a factor that we can't control. Let's just leave it where it's at. So the numbers could be better than this. They could potentially be slightly worse due to the TSP. But based off of the cash values and the accessible cash that she has in her outside savings account, which I would still suggest live in the policy, she's doing pretty good for herself. So if you feel like, man, this kind of sounds crazy. She went from paying off her debts in what should have been almost 7 years to literally not even 3 years, talking 29 months, and then completely inside debt free at 33 months. This seems crazy, dude. Well, how about this? Let's put your numbers to work. Let's put your information in the system, and let's discuss what this looks like for your scenario. At the end of the day, guys, I know this works because this is how I paid off my debt. This is how my wife and I paid off our $60,000 that we owed. I had student loans, we had high interest credit cards, we had things that we had to pay off, and we took advantage of two systems. Infinite banking, the concept using the product of whole life insurance, properly structured, might I add, and velocity banking concept. We married those two things together, and this incredible process started to take place where we were paying off debts in a fraction of the time while still building a cash flowing asset. If you're interested in chatting, go ahead and click the link in the description below. Let's book a call, watch my overview video, and whatever you do, please just read the book, Becoming Your Own Banker. It's a game changer. It's super short read. It's going to be maybe a little bit over your head, but that's why you read it and then we chat, because I'm here to answer the questions. I'm here to go through that information with you so it all makes sense on your time. As always, you guys, the information is free, but the knowledge is priceless. I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you got some value from this, and I look forward to catching you next time. Peace.